Everything you desire already exists within you. The only reason it seems distant is because you've placed it outside yourself, as something to be chased, earned, or manifested through effort. But the truth is that manifestation is not a struggle. It is an awakening. You are not trying to make something happen, you are remembering that it already has. The moment you desire something, creation is finished. All that remains is for you to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and rest in that knowing. You don't have to beg the universe or force the unseen to move. The unseen is already in motion the instant you believe. When you try too hard to manifest, you are declaring through your effort that you do not have it. You are saying, I am still waiting. And the state of waiting only produces more waiting. The law of consciousness doesn't respond to effort. It responds to assumption. What you assume to be true becomes true because consciousness is the only reality. So stop trying to create through force. Begin to live from the end. Feel now what you would feel if your desire were already realized. Speak now as though it were done. Think now as the person who already has what they asked for. Your outer world is only a shadow reflecting the light of your inner world. To change the shadow, you do not wrestle with it. You adjust the light within. When you finally let go of the effort, when you stop chasing and start resting in awareness, you discover that what you wanted was never apart from you. It was hidden beneath the layers of doubt, fear, and striving. The secret is in your state of being. You are not attracting anything. You are aligning with what is already yours. Every possibility exists simultaneously in the eternal now. The version of you who already possesses what you desire exists right now in another dimension of consciousness. To step into that version, you do not need to climb, fight, or plead. You simply need to feel as that version feels and persist in that state until it becomes natural. The most powerful manifestation occurs in stillness, not in striving. When you are still, you enter the silence where imagination reigns. There, in the quiet of your mind, you can see, hear, and feel your desire as real. This inner experience is the seed. Once planted, it must grow not because of your effort, but because of the divine law that every seed reproduces after its own kind. When you remain faithful to that inner vision, the outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself in harmony with your assumption. You do not have to make it happen. It happens through you. Stop looking for signs follow belief. They do not precede it. Stop wondering when it will happen, because time is not your master. It is your servant. When you live in the feeling of fulfillment, time bends to accommodate your inner reality. The longer you hold yourself in the state of lack, the longer the outer world reflects that lack back to you. So, seize the inner struggle. Replace striving with surrender. Replace effort with awareness. Say within yourself, it is already done, and then dare to live as though it were. Many people confuse action with faith. They think faith is doing more, praying louder, visualizing harder. But faith is quiet certainty. It is knowing that even when nothing seems to move, everything is moving in unseen realms. The one who truly believes does not check for evidence. They do not question the process or measure progress. They walk in peace, for they know that creation is complete. When you know that what you desire is already yours, the anxiety disappears. You don't need to make the river flow, you simply flow with it. You rest in the assurance that what belongs to you cannot be taken, delayed, or denied. Imagination is the womb of creation. Whatever you hold within it in the feeling of reality must eventually take form. You are not waiting on God to move. God is waiting on you to believe. The unseen becomes visible the moment your inner conviction becomes stronger than your outer circumstances. But if you continue to try hard, you are telling the universe you are unsure. You are declaring lack instead of abundance, absence instead of presence. The energy of trying is the energy of not having. The energy of knowing is the energy of fulfillment. Choose the latter, and your world will reshape itself accordingly. The key is to live inwardly as if the wish were already fulfilled, and to persist in that feeling regardless of appearances. The outer world is slow to change because it mirrors your dominant inner state, not your momentary thought. If you spend your days feeling that you don't yet have what you desire, then that is what you project. But when you shift within, when you feel joy, peace, and gratitude for something already yours, you alter the blueprint of reality. The invisible becomes inevitable. The law must respond because it cannot deny itself. When you rest in the awareness of having, life begins to unfold effortlessly. Things fall into place, people appear, opportunities align, not because you pushed them, but because you vibrated with the reality of their existence. The right phone call comes, the right door opens, the right idea arrives. This is not coincidence, it is correspondence. Your outer life corresponds exactly to your inner assumption. That is why you must stop trying so hard. Every time you strain, you push it further away. Every time you relax and believe, you draw it near. Feel the truth of this now. You already are the person you long to become. You already possess the abundance, the love, the health, the opportunity. You are not walking toward it, you are walking in it. Everything that seems to be coming is already here, waiting for your awareness to claim it. The invisible reality is more real than what your senses perceive. When you awaken to this truth, you stop living in delay and start living in divine immediacy. You understand that manifestation is not a process, it's a revelation. It's the uncovering of what's been true all along. So today, release the burden of effort. Let go of the mental struggle, the constant asking, the waiting for proof. Rest in the knowing that it's already done. You are not incomplete. You are not lacking. You are not separate from the good you desire. Everything you have ever prayed for is already established in consciousness. You don't need to force creation. You are creation expressing itself. Stop trying to manifest it. Begin to embody it. Stop striving to reach for it. Begin to live from it. Because the truth is simple, powerful, and eternal. It's already yours. Creation is finished. That simple truth is the foundation of all manifestation, yet it is the most easily overlooked. The mind, conditioned by time and space, believes everything must be built, earned, or acquired through a process. It cannot comprehend that what you desire is already complete in another dimension of existence. The moment you imagine something, the instant you desire it, it is created. You are not trying to bring it into being, you are awakening to what already exists. The unseen world holds every possibility, every outcome, every version of your life that you could ever live. You are not traveling toward your desire. You are moving through states of consciousness until you occupy the one where your desire is already fulfilled. Creation is complete because consciousness, which is the source of all things, is eternal. When you understand this, you stop approaching life as a constant chase. You cease striving to make things happen and begin to realize that everything is already happening in divine order. The mind that thinks it must create is the same mind that is unaware of its own power. You were never meant to struggle to manifest, you were meant to remember. Every image, every dream, every vision that enters your imagination is not a random thought. It is a glimpse into the finished work of creation. Imagination is the doorway to eternity, and when you enter it, you are seeing what already is. You are looking into another layer of reality that exists beyond the limits of time. Your role is not to create, but to choose. You are not a worker in the field of manifestation. You are the chooser of realities. When you say, I want to be wealthy, that desire reveals that the state of wealth already exists. The fact that you can imagine it means it is possible, and if it is possible, it already exists. You are not trying to build wealth, you are trying to align your awareness with the state of being wealthy. You do this not by working harder, but by feeling now what that state feels like. The moment you assume that feeling and dwell in it, creation rearranges itself around your new assumption. The invisible becomes visible because your consciousness commands it to be so. If creation were not finished, your imagination could not perceive what it has not yet existed. Every dream that has ever entered your mind has been shown to you because it is already completed in the divine mind. When you desire love, it is because love already exists for you. When you desire success, it is because that success already stands complete in another state of being. You are simply being invited to step into that reality through faith. Faith is not hope, faith is knowing. Hope waits for something to come. Faith rests because it knows it already is. Imagine a vast library containing every story ever written and every story that could ever be written. Your life is one of those stories. Every outcome, every possibility, every choice already exists in that library. You are not writing the book as you go. You are choosing which page to read, which chapter to live in, which storyline to occupy. When you understand this, you no longer feel the pressure to make things happen. You begin to live in peace, knowing that you can shift into the version of yourself who already has everything you desire simply by assuming that identity within. This is why your inner conversations are so powerful. Every time you speak within yourself, you are confirming the reality you dwell in. When you say, it hasn't happened yet, you are affirming delay. But when you say, it is already done, you are shifting into the finished creation. The outer world must then conform because it has no life of its own. It is a mirror reflecting your inner assumptions. The mirror does not decide what to show, it only reflects what stands before it. Change the stance of your inner being, and the mirror of life must obey. The struggle many people experience in manifestation comes from the belief that they must somehow force reality to move. They pray, they visualize, they work harder, all while holding the feeling of not yet having. But the universe responds to feeling, not effort. It echoes the vibration of your state of consciousness. If you live in the state of lack, you attract more lack. If you live in the state of fulfillment, fulfillment flows naturally. The difference between the two is not in the amount of effort, but in awareness. One says, I am trying to get, and the other says, I already am. The one who already is does not chase, they rest. They move through life with quiet confidence, knowing that creation is finished. When you realize this truth, you become free from anxiety. You stop measuring time by appearances because you understand that manifestation is not about waiting, it's about awakening. What you call the future is not ahead of you. It exists now, unseen, waiting for you to align with it. The law of consciousness does not work in time, it works in states. The moment you enter the state of your wish fulfilled, The so-called future begins to unfold around that assumption. It may appear gradual to the physical senses, but spiritually it happened the instant you believed. The outer manifestation is simply the slow unfolding of what was already real in consciousness. There is no such thing as an unfulfilled desire. Every desire contains within it the power and the evidence of its fulfillment. Desire is the language of the divine within you, showing you what is already yours. The moment you desire something, it means it has already been prepared. The divine does not give you desires to mock you. It gives them as reminders of your completeness. You are being shown what belongs to you in the invisible, so you may claim it in the visible. You are never waiting for it to be created. It was finished before you asked. Your task is only to believe, to feel, to assume. Everything you see around you today was once invisible. It existed first in imagination, in thought, in belief. The house you live in, the clothes you wear, the technology you use, all began as unseen ideas. Those ideas did not appear through struggle. They appeared through acceptance of possibility. Someone believed that what they imagined was already real, and that belief brought it into the physical. You do the same every day, whether you know it or not. Your imagination is constantly creating realities, shaping outcomes, forming experiences. The only question is, are you aware of what you are creating? To live by the truth that creation is finished is to live as the master of your reality. You no longer react to circumstances. You interpret them as reflections of your inner state. You stop trying to fix the outer world because you know the outer world has no power of its own. All power is within you, within your awareness. When you shift your consciousness, the entire world bends to meet your new state. This is the essence of divine creation. You are not becoming, you are remembering. You are not learning, you are awakening to what has always been true. So when you feel the urge to strive, to push, to make something happen, remind yourself, it is already done. The blueprint is complete. The path is set. You are simply walking through scenes that were written long ago in the eternal mind. The only thing that changes is your awareness of it. The moment you decide that what you desire is already yours, you activate the version of yourself who is living it. You collapse time, dissolve effort, and move into alignment with the finished work of creation. Nothing is missing. Nothing is undone. Creation is finished, and you are the consciousness through which it unfolds. Effort implies lack. The very moment you begin to try too hard to manifest something, you are declaring to the universe that you do not yet have it. Every struggle, every strain, every anxious attempt to make something appear is rooted in the belief that it is missing. And as long as you believe it is missing, you will continue to experience its absence. The law of consciousness operates by reflection. Whatever you assume to be true within yourself must reflect outwardly. If your inner dialogue says, "I'm still waiting," the outer world echoes, "Keep waiting." If you say, "It hasn't come yet," the mirror of life responds, "It hasn't come." The universe never contradicts your dominant feeling. It amplifies it. The greatest secret in manifestation is that you never receive what you want, you receive what you believe. Wanting is lack, believing is possession. Wanting says, "I don't have it yet," but belief quietly rests in the knowing that it's already done. That is why effort is not a virtue in the spiritual realm. It is a signal that you are not yet in alignment with what you desire. You are trying to compensate through action for what you lack in conviction. But manifestation is not about convincing the world. It is about persuading yourself. You cannot attract abundance while feeling poor, nor draw love while feeling unworthy. You cannot reach fulfillment through strain, because strain itself is born of separation from the thing you seek. The moment you let go of the need to prove, to push, or to make it happen, you enter the flow of divine ease. You realize that the power to manifest lies not in doing more, but in being still enough to believe. The stillness of faith is stronger than the motion of effort. Faith says, "I need not chase because it is mine." It does not compete, it does not force, it does not rush. It simply knows. This knowing draws things toward you effortlessly, because your energy now matches the state of already having. You become magnetically aligned with your desire, and all things begin to arrange themselves to bring it forth. Trying too hard is like planting a seed and then digging it up every hour to see if it's growing. The constant interference disturbs the process. Growth happens in the unseen. When you rest, the soil of consciousness begins to work. The seed knows what to do, but it cannot grow while you doubt it. You must plant your intention, feel the satisfaction of it already fulfilled, and then leave it alone. Let faith be your gardener. Let imagination do its work without interruption. When you stop trying, you allow the invisible law to function perfectly, for its nature is effortless creation. Effort comes from fear, fear that it won't happen, fear that you aren't enough, fear that you have to do something extraordinary to deserve it. But the truth is, the moment you imagined it, it was yours. You never needed to earn it, you only needed to believe it. The universe is not moved by your struggle, it is moved by your certainty. When you are certain, you don't push. You walk as though it's already complete. You speak with quiet authority, not desperation. You think thoughts that align with fulfillment, not absence. That calm assurance is the language of creation. When you begin to force manifestation, you also begin to separate yourself from the very thing you desire. You place it on a pedestal and declare it as something outside of you, something you must work to get. But the truth is, nothing is outside of you. Everything you desire already exists within your consciousness. You do not go out to get it, you awaken it from within. Effort is the language of someone who believes they are far from what they want. Ease is the expression of someone who knows they are one with it already. The one who tries hard is looking outward. The one who believes simply turns inward. Think of a person trying to breathe. If they consciously strain to breathe, their body tenses, their breath becomes shallow and anxiety grows. But when they relax, breathing flows naturally. Manifestation is the same. The more you try, the more resistance you create. The more you relax, the more naturally it unfolds. The universe functions through balance, not tension. You cannot squeeze abundance into your life by force. You can only allow it to flow by resonance. This is why the energy of trying never produces lasting results. It might bring temporary satisfaction, but it cannot sustain manifestation because it is rooted in lack. The more you push, the more you reinforce the idea that you are without. You say through your actions, I must work to have it, when the truth is, I already have it. The state of already having is peace. The state of trying is restlessness. Peace manifests, restlessness delays. Every attempt to prove your worthiness, every desperate visualization, every anxious affirmation only delays the arrival of what you seek, not because the universe is punishing you, but because you are speaking two opposing languages. Faith with your words, doubt with your feelings. The secret is to feel before it appears. Feel what it's like to already possess what you desire. If it's love, feel loved. If it's success, feel successful. If it's healing, feel whole. Those feelings are not the reward, they are the bridge. When you feel fulfilled, you declare to the universe that it is already done. That inner declaration collapses all resistance and brings the outer into harmony with the inner. But you cannot feel fulfilled while trying to manifest. Trying implies waiting, and waiting implies distance. To manifest, you must close the distance by assuming it is already here. Effort belongs to the realm of the physical. But creation happens in the unseen. When you dwell in effort, you are trying to change shadows rather than the light that casts them. You're adjusting the mirror rather than the face it reflects. True transformation happens in consciousness first. Once you change within, the world must follow. You do not have to strain to rearrange it. You only have to dwell in the awareness that it is already rearranged. Effort is rooted in doubt. The mind that tries says, if I don't do this, it won't happen. The spirit that knows says, I can rest for it is done. When you act from faith, your actions are guided and inspired, they flow with ease. But when you act from fear, your actions are forced and exhausting. Faith-led action is not the same as trying. Faith-led action is natural movement arising from inner conviction. Trying is unnatural striving born of insecurity. One flows with the current of divine timing, the other fights against it. Many people confuse spiritual persistence with mental force. To persist in faith is not to strain, it is to quietly remain in the feeling of the wish fulfilled despite appearances. It is holding the inner knowing that what you see does not matter, because what you know is greater. That is not effort. That is assurance. It is the peace of one who knows that the seed planted will bear fruit in its season. You don't rush the seasons, you trust them. When you stop trying and begin to trust, everything changes. Life begins to respond to you instead of you chasing after it. You move from desperation to dominion, from forcing to flowing. Your very presence becomes magnetic because you are no longer vibrating with need. You are vibrating with completion. The universe mirrors that energy by sending you people, opportunities, and circumstances that match the vibration of wholeness. So when you catch yourself trying, pause and remember effort implies lack. Ask yourself, what am I believing right now? Then gently shift that belief. Instead of saying, I'm trying to get this, say, it's already mine. Instead of saying, I need it to come, say, it is already here. You will feel the energy within you soften. You will feel peace return. That peace is the evidence of alignment. The more you dwell there, the faster the outer world adjusts. Because in truth, it is not your effort that manifests. It is your assumption. An assumption, once accepted, moves mountains without lifting a finger. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to enter the state of consciousness where your desire is already a living reality. It is to move beyond words, beyond hope, beyond effort, and to dwell in the quiet knowing that what you seek is already accomplished. When you assume the feeling, you are no longer asking, you are receiving. You are no longer looking for proof, you are resting in awareness. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between imagination and manifestation. It is not imagination in the sense of fantasy, it is imagination in the sense of creation. Everything that exists was first imagined, and everything that will ever exist must first be felt as real within consciousness before it can appear in form. This is why you must live from the end. To live from the end is to act, think, and feel as though your desire were already a fact. You are not pretending, you are aligning with truth. The outer world is merely the slow echo of the inner world, and once you occupy the inner state of fulfillment, the echo will match the source. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are declaring to the universe, it is finished. You are stepping into the dimension where your desire is already complete, and you are giving it permission to materialize in your physical experience. Many people attempt to manifest while still dwelling in the consciousness of waiting. They visualize but still feel lack. They affirm but still feel fear. They pray but still doubt. These divided states cancel each other. You cannot hold two opposing vibrations and expect clarity in results. You must become single-minded. You must decide that your desire is already yours, and then feel the reality of that decision so deeply that every fiber of your being vibrates with fulfillment. When you do this, your outer circumstances must conform, because the outer is only a reflection of the inner. Feeling is the secret. Thoughts are powerful, but thoughts without feeling are weak. You can say, I am rich, 1,000 times, but if you still feel poor, the feeling of poverty will dominate your vibration. It is not the words that create, it is the feeling behind them. When you say, I am loved, and your heart swells with gratitude as though love were overflowing in your life, that feeling draws love to you effortlessly. The subconscious mind receives only feeling. It does not reason or debate. It accepts as true whatever emotion you embody. This is why you must feel the reality of your wish now. If you wait for it to appear before you feel it, you will wait forever. You must feel it first, and then it will appear. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not something you manufacture. It is something you allow. It already exists within you. Every feeling is a frequency, and all frequencies already exist in the infinite field of consciousness. When you desire something, it means the feeling of it already exists within your reach. You are not creating it. You are tuning into it. Just as you tune a radio to a specific frequency to hear a particular station, you tune your consciousness to the feeling of what you want to experience. Once you hold that vibration consistently, your world begins to reorganize itself to match that frequency. This is why imagination is sacred. It is not an idle playground for daydreams. It is the workshop of creation. When you close your eyes and imagine your desire is already done, you are not fantasizing. You are entering the state of fulfillment. You are rehearsing the feeling until it becomes natural. The more natural it feels, the sooner it appears. The subconscious does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. It only knows what is felt. So when you feel abundance, love, or success as though it were happening now, your subconscious mind begins to project it outward as experience. Assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled means you no longer measure your progress by appearances. You no longer ask when or how. Those questions belong to the realm of doubt. You walk in faith, and faith is feeling. Faith is not words. It is the deep inner conviction that what you desire already exists. You hold this conviction not for a few seconds of meditation, but throughout your daily life. You carry the atmosphere of fulfillment within you. When challenges arise, you return to that inner state and remind yourself, it is already done. That inner steadiness becomes your new vibration, and reality bends to it. Most people live in reaction to what they see, but those who understand the law live from what they know. You must become more loyal to your inner feeling than to your outer facts. The outer world is temporary, it is old news, the afterimage of a previous state. The inner world is eternal, it is the creative source. When you assume the feeling of fulfillment and persist in it despite appearances, you are rewriting the blueprint of your reality. Eventually, the outer world must catch up, for it cannot resist the authority of a sustained inner state. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is also to die to your old self. The version of you that complains, doubts, and waits cannot coexist with the version of you who already has it. You must let go of that old identity and fully inhabit the new one. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve lack and fulfillment at the same time. Every time you return to the feeling of, I don't have it yet, you resurrect the old self. But when you live in, I am it, you bury the old self and walk as the new creation. This death and resurrection happen within your consciousness. You can begin this practice right now. Close your eyes and see yourself living in the end. Feel what it feels like to already have your desire. Hear the sounds you would hear. See the faces of people congratulating you. Smell the air of the place you would be in. Touch the texture of success, of love, of healing. Let your senses be saturated with the reality of it. Stay there until it feels natural, until you no longer need to force it. Then, when you open your eyes, do not return to the old feeling. Carry the new one with you into the world. Walk as if it were true. Speak as if it were true. Respond to life as if it were true. That is how you live from the end. This feeling must be nurtured like a flame. At first, it may flicker because the outer world contradicts it. But if you persist, that feeling grows stronger. Eventually, it becomes your dominant state. When that happens, you no longer need to convince yourself, you simply know. The outer world has no choice but to mirror your knowing. You meet people, receive opportunities, and experience coincidences that align perfectly with your assumption. None of this happens by chance. It happens because the feeling you maintained within yourself became flesh. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the creative act itself. Once you feel it and persist in it, you have already set the manifestation in motion. Nothing else is required. No excessive affirmations, no restless waiting, no proof seeking. The proof will come naturally as the shadow follows the body. The outer world is compelled to reflect the inner conviction. It must obey because consciousness is the only reality, and what is impressed upon it must be expressed through it. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are living as God intended you to live, in authority, in peace, in completeness. You cease to chase life and begin to create it deliberately. You understand that everything you could ever desire already exists in the eternal now, waiting for your awareness to claim it. You no longer live in desire, you live in realization. You no longer hope for change, you embody it. You no longer wait for blessings, you recognize that the blessing is already within you, waiting to be felt into being. Faith is rest, not force. The kind of faith that manifests miracles is not the kind that struggles to believe, but the kind that quietly knows. True faith is a deep inner assurance that what you have asked for is already done. It does not tremble in doubt or wrestle with appearances. It stands still in peace, unmoved by time or circumstance. When you are in faith, you do not feel the need to make things happen. You allow them to unfold. You understand that the universe, in its perfect wisdom, is orchestrating every detail in harmony with your inner assumption. Faith is not striving, faith is surrender to the reality of what already exists. The mistake many people make is confusing faith with effort. They think faith is a constant pushing of the mind, a repetition of words, a struggle to convince oneself that something will happen. But faith is not born from strain, it is born from realization. When you truly believe, you rest. You stop pleading and start thanking. You stop waiting and start living. You no longer look to the world for signs of confirmation, because the confirmation already lives within you. You know that creation is finished, and your belief simply aligns you with the finished work. Force belongs to fear, rest belongs to love. When you are afraid, you try to control outcomes. You grasp, you demand, you panic when things do not appear as you expected. But when you are in love, love with your vision, love with your God, love with your truth, you rest. You know that all things are working together for your good, even if you cannot yet see how. Faith has no anxiety, because faith understands that unseen forces are already in motion. It does not question divine timing, it trusts it. It does not rush the process, it enjoys the unfolding. When you rest in faith, you stop measuring progress by sight. You no longer ask, when will it happen? Because you understand that it has already happened in the invisible. Time is only the space between the invisible and the visible, between assumption and appearance. You no longer live by what your eyes can see, you live by what your heart knows. This knowing becomes your peace, and that peace is the atmosphere in which miracles grow. Anxiety chokes creation, but peace allows it to blossom. Faith is rest because it operates from completion, not from lack. You are not trying to reach something, you are standing on something. You are not asking for it to come, you are living as though it is already here. That inner position of fulfillment is what faith truly is. You can tell when you are in faith because there is no inner tension. There is no desperate mental conversation trying to convince yourself that it will work out. Instead, there is calm, there is quiet, there is that deep, wordless sense of it is done. This inner peace is not passivity. It is not doing nothing. It is doing everything from the right state of being. You may still take action, but your action flows from confidence, not from fear. You may still speak affirmations, but your words come from knowing, not from hoping. You may still visualize, but your visions arise from fulfillment, not from emptiness. That is the difference between force and faith. One drains you, the other fills you. One strives to create, the other allows creation to reveal itself. When you are in force, you are like a person rowing against the current, exhausting yourself in resistance. When you are in faith, you are like one who lifts the sail and lets the wind carry them. The current of life knows where you need to go. Faith trusts that current. It knows that even if the path bends or seems uncertain, it is all part of the design leading to the realization of your desire. Force tries to control the flow, faith aligns with it. Every great manifestation begins with rest. The moment you stop trying to make it happen, you create the space for it to come. The more you chase, the further it runs, for chasing is rooted in the vibration of not having. But when you rest, you declare it's already mine. That declaration of stillness carries a power greater than any amount of effort. Rest is the language of divine authority. Only those who know they already have can rest. Those who doubt must strive. Faith is rest because it acknowledges the truth that all creation is finished. Nothing new needs to be made. Everything you will ever desire already exists in consciousness. You do not have to create abundance, you must awaken to it. You do not have to chase love, you must align with it. You do not have to beg for healing, you must receive it. When you rest in that awareness, your entire being relaxes. You no longer fight reality, you shape it from within. When your heart is at rest, your imagination becomes fertile ground. The mind in turmoil cannot create clearly, for its energy is scattered. But the mind in peace is powerful because it is focused. From stillness, you can see visions clearly. From rest, you can hear divine guidance distinctly. From faith, you can act with precision and purpose. This is why stillness is not weakness, it is creative mastery. The calm believer creates faster than the anxious doer. The one who rests in faith manifests more surely than the one who forces in fear. You can always recognize the difference between faith and force by how you feel. Force feels heavy, restless, urgent. Faith feels light, calm, certain. Force comes from trying to control the outer world. Faith comes from trusting the inner world. Force tries to make things move faster. Faith knows they are already in motion. Force says, I must make it happen. Faith says, it's already happening. The energy of those two statements is worlds apart. One resists, the other allows. Faith is rest because it relies on truth, not appearance. The truth is that you are one with the power that creates worlds. That power does not struggle, it simply is. It speaks and it becomes, and that same power lives within you. You were never meant to strain to manifest. You were meant to rest in the knowing that you are the creator of your experience. The creator within you does not panic because it already knows the outcome. When you align with that divine nature, you feel that same calm. You begin to look at every situation through the eyes of completion. To rest in faith is to know that every delay is divine timing. It is to understand that even apparent obstacles are part of the unfolding. You no longer see detours as denial, you see them as redirection. You no longer interpret silence as absence, you see it as the quiet preparation of your answered prayer. You are no longer shaken by appearances because you have become rooted in the unseen. You stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, not because you force it, but because you believe it. Faith is not the pushing of willpower, it is the surrender of resistance. It is the relaxation of the heart that finally says, I trust you. I trust the process. I trust that it is done. When that trust settles in, manifestation becomes natural. You begin to see that life was never about making things happen. It was about becoming aware of what has already been given. When you rest in that awareness, your actions become inspired instead of forced. You are guided instead of driven. You live from peace instead of pressure. Faith that rests is faith that manifests. It is the faith that stands still when everything says move. The faith that smiles when everything looks uncertain. The faith that sleeps through the storm because it knows the outcome is already secured. That kind of faith doesn't come from effort, it comes from revelation. It comes from realizing that the power to create is within you, and that creation itself is complete. The moment you accept this, you find that the struggle ends. You do not need to try to believe, belief becomes your natural state. You rest in faith because you finally know there is nothing left to prove, nothing left to chase, nothing left to earn, only everything to receive. You are already that which you seek. This is the great secret that has been hidden in plain sight. The moment you desire something, you reveal what already exists within you. Desire is not the call of something far away. It is the whisper of what is already here, seeking expression through you. You could not desire what does not already belong to you. For every desire is evidence of a hidden possession, waiting to be acknowledged. You are not trying to become something you are not. You are awakening to what you have always been. Every longing in your heart is the echo of your higher self reminding you of your true nature. You are not chasing abundance. You are remembering that abundance has always been your birthright. You are not seeking love. You are realizing that love is your very essence. You are not striving to be healed. You are discovering that wholeness has always been within you. When you finally understand that you already are what you wish to be, the entire process of manifestation changes. You no longer try to get, you begin to express. You no longer plead, you declare. You no longer wait, you embody. Manifestation is not about pulling something external into your life. It is about becoming conscious of what has always existed within your being. The external world is only a mirror reflecting the state of your inner awareness. When you shift within, the world cannot help but rearrange itself to match your new understanding of self. What you hold inwardly as true must, by divine law, express itself outwardly. The greatest illusion of all is separation, the belief that what you desire exists apart from you. This illusion makes you chase, it makes you beg, it makes you feel unworthy. But the truth is that there is no separation between you and your desire because consciousness is one. The thing you seek is not out there. It is within you, clothed in imagination, waiting for your recognition. The distance between you and your manifestation is only the distance of belief. When you believe it is already yours, the illusion of distance disappears and the unseen becomes seen. The mind that believes it must become something is living in lack, but the mind that knows it already is, lives in fulfillment. When you affirm, I am wealthy, you are not lying to yourself. You are aligning yourself with the truth of your divine nature. When you say, I am healed, You are not denying the evidence of the senses. You are declaring the reality that transcends the senses. Every I am statement is a creative act, a divine decree that shapes reality in its image. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are conscious of being. Therefore, to manifest your desire, you must stop trying to become and start being. The moment you assume the feeling of already having your desire, you shift your entire vibration to match the reality where that desire is fulfilled. You move from a state of asking to a state of knowing. You stop seeking signs because your being itself becomes the sign. You no longer chase after evidence. You become the evidence. This is the true meaning of faith, to live as though the invisible were already visible, to move through life as if your dream were already fact. The outer world always conforms to the inner conviction. When you know you already have it, nothing can keep it from you. You are not a beggar trying to earn blessings. You are a creator awakening to your inheritance. The kingdom is within you, not ahead of you. The world is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens through you. Every image in your imagination is a seed of reality, and your awareness is the fertile soil in which it grows. To say I am is to plant the seed. To believe I am is to water it. To rest in I am is to let it bloom. The garden of your life will always reflect the nature of your self-concept. If you wish to change the harvest, you must change what you are being. You cannot seek from the position of not having. The very act of seeking affirms separation. The more you try to get something, the more you affirm that you don't have it. This is why desire fulfilled cannot come to the one who believes it is still lacking. But the moment you shift your consciousness and assume that you already are the one who has it, the vibration of lack dissolves. You stop looking for your desire in time and space. You recognize that you already possess it in awareness. And because awareness is the only reality, what you know yourself to be within must soon mirror itself without. This realization is the key that sets you free. It releases you from the endless struggle of effort and the exhausting search for proof. It brings you into harmony with the eternal now, where all things exist in completion. When you know that you are already that which you seek, life becomes a dance instead of a pursuit. You no longer chase dreams, you express them. You no longer hope for blessings, you embody them. You no longer look outside for answers, you draw them from within. The reason so many people fail to manifest is because they keep looking for the thing outside themselves. They pray for what they already have. They declare that they are waiting for their miracle when the miracle is waiting for them to believe. You do not need to make anything happen. You need to awaken to what has already happened in the invisible. The spiritual law is unchanging. You become what you are conscious of being. So if you continue to see yourself as one who is waiting, you will keep waiting. But the moment you see yourself as one who has received, the universe must bring evidence of that state. You are the source, not the seeker. Everything you desire exists within the field of your consciousness. When you embody the vibration of love, love flows into your life. When you dwell in the awareness of abundance, abundance takes form around you. When you see yourself as healed, healing manifests in your body. Nothing can be withheld from you when you know that it is already yours. The law of consciousness cannot be broken. It must express what you are being. To live from this understanding is to walk in true freedom. You stop comparing, competing, and convincing. You no longer measure your progress by what you see, because you know that the unseen governs the seen. You no longer question how or when things will unfold, because you know that what is real in consciousness must appear in form. You begin to live with quiet confidence, knowing that all is well because you are one with the source of all. You walk with grace, you speak with authority, you rest with certainty, because you have recognized your oneness with that which you desire. Every great awakening begins with a shift in identity. You must stop identifying with the one who lacks and start identifying with the one who has. You must let go of the false self that says, I am trying, and embrace the true self that says, I am. That single shift in consciousness changes everything. It transforms prayer from pleading to thanksgiving. It turns waiting into receiving. It changes striving into resting. When you know you already are the thing you seek, you no longer ask when it will come. You start living as if it already has. This is the mystery of manifestation. Nothing is added to you, only revealed from within you. You are already complete. You are already full. You are already divine. The work of life is not to get more, but to become more aware of who you truly are. The more you awaken to that truth, the more effortlessly life bends to your awareness. What once seemed distant becomes immediate. What once seemed impossible becomes natural. You are already that which you seek, and the moment you realize this truth, every desire begins to find its way to you with ease, because it was never missing. It was simply waiting for you to see.